Omega, with his body, I can construct a new Gallifrey.
My battle is in there.
Hello everyone and welcome back to another Doctor Who review. Today we are talking about the Season 2/Series 15/Series 46, maybe, finale, and that is The Reality War, of course, written by Russel T. Davies, and is the, seemingly, as of right now, the last episode of this new Disney Plus era of Doctor Who, unless it gets renewed, which hopefully it does. And
do we hope that it does?
I
hope it does, just because I always want Doctor Who content. But
yeah.
I'm not gonna lie and say that I'm not scorned.
Yeah, I forgot to say, I'm with the amazing Nick Arechie. Nick, how are you?
Not great, buddy.
Yeah, so, and anyone who watches the channel knows, we don't like to be negative, we don't like to harp, but man, overall, really underwhelmed and disappointed by the episode. Clearly, some fuck shit happened behind the scenes. I don't know what happened. I'm looking forward to the documentary in 10 years about what went down. But it's just one of those things where this is 2 finales in a row, man, that just weren't it. And especially from Russel T. Davies, who in his first run typically had really great finales, every time. And it just sucks. And I think part of it is just the 8-episode count. But part of it is they introduce so much that they have to pay off, and it's just why are we doing that? We're gonna inevitably be disappointed by something.
Do they have to pay it off? Because I felt like they didn't pay anything off.
They paid things off, just not in a very satisfactory way.
Yeah.
No, and I'm glad they kept some things unanswered. Like, for example, when Anita, which we'll get into stuff in a second, but when Anita says, is that her name, the lady from the Time Hotel?
Yeah.
When Anita says, oh, by the way, soon, you'll get to meet the boss, or whatever. And then that's a reference to the Meep from the first David Tennant revamped episode when he says, just wait till I tell the boss. And it's okay, so they're still leading up something there. Until it's going to be some classic villain that they just turn into a CGI monster that gets defeated really easily.
That no one knows about unless you're,
a big fan. Yeah.
Every classic villain revealed that they have done in Disney Who, I have no idea who they are. And maybe that makes me a bad Doctor Who fan, but I like to consider myself a good Doctor Who fan, but I feel like you cannot be pulling that deep cuts if you want to be an intro to Doctor Who.
If you're going to pull the deep cuts, the best deep cut they've done in the new era was the Toymaker. Because they
caught you up.
They reintroduced you to the new version of them, gave you time with them, caught you up as to the history, and then had amazing scenes play out. Now, I even think that they could have had Toymaker in all 3 episodes, but, regardless, let's get into this one.
Yeah.
Clearly, we were very disappointed by the episode, those watching. But let's take a moment, Nicholas, and let's talk about the positives, the things we actually liked about the episode.
Okay. Do you want to go first, or shall I?
You go first, and it doesn't have to be in order. We can be scatterbrained, and then we'll get into the stuff that we don't like.
Okay. Liked. Always have been a big fan of Gatwa as the Doctor.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's the same thing with Jodie, where I really like them as the Doctor. I think they suffer from poor writing. But I think from a performance standpoint, I've always really liked Gatwa. I always love to see Kate Stewart. I absolutely Jodie's return worked for me.
Dude,
and
it was one of the best parts of the episode. I almost cried.
And maybe that's because I've been a big Jodie fan, again, suffering from poor writing.
Yeah.
Maybe I just liked that it was a redemption arc. Maybe it was this glimmer of, to me, it kind of also ruined the episode in a bit. Because even Jodie's season, it still felt like her coming back. I was like, Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Which I feel like I haven't gotten with the Disney version of it. So it was kind of reminiscent of an era, even if I didn't like that era, but it just still felt nostalgic to me in a way.
No, that's fair. But their scene was beautiful.
Their scene was great, and I really liked the scene with the Ronnie at Unit HQ.
I did too.
I liked the return of Anita in the Time Hotel.
Mm-hmm. I liked them. I think
shooting, I'm running on empty here now.
I liked them shooting at the bone dinosaurs. Big fan. Big fan of the boom booms.
The HQ started turning.
Yeah.
I was like, I watched that. I said, you know what? Give me War of the Land and the Sea right
Yes,
now.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. I'll watch anything with
Um,
Kate Stewart.
but overall, I mean, there were hype moments, but I think overall the story that they were telling, just so much was kind of undercut. But we can get into that in the negatives
Yeah,
when we
because
talk
they
about
had
it.
great moments, like you mentioned, which, by the way, I agree with all of your moments.
Yeah.
But they had moments that could have been great if they just would have nailed it, and they didn't. You know, it was just like you almost had it. Let's go get kind of get into our big disappointments with the episode.
Did you have any additional positives, or was that?
I mean, pretty much no. Just to get more specific, like
Yeah.
the sequence with 13, easily the highlight of the episode. I think that her telling him, go in with that smile, don't go in with fear, I thought was great. And I thought him just saying, like, I love you to her, I'm like, that was me. That was me talking to her. Like, she, in retrospect, it's going to be the scene like, oh, it's the two doctors that got screwed having a moment together. But I really like that moment. Particularly in the Ronnie scene at Unit HQ, I love just how, like, the Viper just back and forth with each character of just like, how did you find me? And he goes, oh, go to Earth, find a stupid blonde girl. There you are. Like, I'm just like, that's good.
Well, even that too, and just the idea of like when they do the whole talk about like the Time Lords being sterile and stuff like that, and even still, just like that was the suggestion, but the underline was like, I would never with this person, even if it meant rescuing my race.
Yeah, yeah. I thought that was great. I also, from what I understand, and tell me, and in the comments and you, Nicholas, are they saying that after the Master destroyed Gallifrey in the Jodie era, that's what made the Time Lord sterile?
That's kind of like how I took it.
That's how I took it too. If I misheard it, because like they mentioned like the genetic weapon or explosion or whatever, maybe that's not. Maybe they're saying it's always been that way. Then fucking explain Susan, which didn't come back, by the way, in the episode. But whatever. That was the only part of the conversation I didn't like. And while I loved Anita coming back, and I loved like her going to like other Doctor Who moments, that was very cool. She came back to just open the door. And it's like, do more stuff. Like please. And I find it very odd. Like, I liked the actual regeneration sequence. I thought the regeneration looked cool as well.
Like standing outside, like leading into space and stuff like that.
Yeah, very cool design as well. Almost looked like a star when he was regenerating. Very weird.
Joy reference.
Listen, I love that episode. I know there are a lot of haters that episode. I love the episode. Very weird that he chose to regenerate in front of Joy and not Ruby, like his supposed best friend and first companion, whatever. But anyway, going back to positives again, I liked the confrontation with Conrad and Ruby. I thought that was well done. I like the performance of both Ronnies, both Mrs. Flood and the Ronnie. And then let's get into negatives now. Just gets eaten by Omega. And Omega, by the way, horrific design. Looks nothing like they did in the classic show. And it's not like they were doing something new. Literally built up to this moment. Brought back a returning character. Built up to this moment to just eat the bitch. Shoot him with a ray gun. And then that's it. And then Mrs. Flood pieces out. Which honestly was the best part of the whole thing.
But here's my thing. Just everything about it was so sloppily executed. And is just undermining several of the points that they have been trying to make, right? Russell T changed the design of the Sonic because he didn't want the Doctor using the Sonic like a gun, only to give him a gun to defeat the bad guy at the end.
Yeah.
Right? You have like Ruby forgiving Conrad to a certain extent and thanking him for the world that he created, even though the world that he created was...
Well, I didn't take that as her being serious. I took it that as her just trying to talk him down. Because at the end, when... Oh, another positive that I'll get into. When Ruby is trying to tell people, like, hey, fucking listen to me.
Yeah.
I really liked that. And because part of it, she goes, he's not a fucking cook. That kid was real. this is all happening. Fucking listen to me. And the story that I thought they were building was going to be about her remembering 73 Yards, remembering Wish World, remembering all these things, and they were going to build that into a third season and kind of pay that off. That's what it looked like was going to happen. No. But it also was one of those things where, let's talk about the whole thing with Poppy. I don't mind the idea of Belinda has a child that we didn't know about, and even if they don't say this in the episode, by the way, but in my headcanon, let's say that the reality war, the break in reality, made the Doctor forget, like when the baby was erased from existence, it went backwards to where it also never existed in the past, which is why we don't remember Belinda bringing it up. That's a stretch, but I'm willing to give them that stretch, okay? I will give them that stretch if it pays off decently. Because here's what I thought. I thought that scene, when they're folding up the blanket until it disappears, was heartbreaking and awesome. But I was under the impression the Doctor knew what he was doing and was just like getting Belinda to forget about it. And Ruby also, being that story where she remembers. It reminded me of The Girl Who Waited with Matt Smith and Amy Pond, where he convinces the older Amy, like, oh, I can bring both of you on the TARDIS, and then just shuts her out. And then tells the other two, like, this could have never happened. Like, she's never going to exist. It's fine. Like, I was kind of waiting for that moment. But anyway, getting back to what I was saying earlier, I'm cool with the kid being real. I'm cool with her having a kid. As a matter of fact, I would have loved in the first episode if we knew she had a kid, and that's why she wanted to get home. I would have loved that story. However, using this reveal to just sideline Belinda for the entire finale episode.
It completely undermined Belinda as a character for me, and I think that was the most upsetting part, was it never felt like it was something that was being built up to. And to me, I loved Belinda as a companion.
Me too.
And I think that this reveal took it down quite a bit for me.
Same.
Like, it fundamentally didn't work. That was not Belinda being the single mother house. Like, that was not something that was in Belinda's character arc or her car. Like, that's not who that character is.
And here's the thing. It could have been. Because imagine if, let's say, we knew about the kid the whole time. We knew that she had a kid. And then Ruby at the end is giving her speech like, no, that kid was real. And we as the audience know the kid was real. And so you're behind Ruby in this moment. And then the Doctor sacrificing his life to save one life, which I liked the concept of that in the episode. That's very Doctor Who. But sacrificing his life to save a life that he promised he would save from the beginning of episode 1. That makes sense, right? Just throwing it in there and just including new dialogue scene. It's not like you could rewatch the scene and it means something different. Like, just including all new shit. It's like, okay. And here's the thing. I would have even been more cool with it if they didn't play with this idea that it was the Doctor's kid. Who cares?
It was kind of fun. So I watched this with my girlfriend, who has not watched Doctor Who, but I was like, I really want to watch this today. Like, do you mind if we just have our coffee and I watch it? And so naturally she had questions, and I was trying my best to keep up to speed as possible. And some of the questions, God bless her for putting up with me for watching this with me. But then as her questions, I was like, no, that makes sense. Like, yeah, no, that's dumb. Like, it was just like, as trying to explain it to someone who's not a Doctor Who person just made it, like, I was just like, yeah, you're right. That is silly. She's like, oh, they built this up over the season. I'm like, no, never mentioned Poppy before. Like, this is all just fake scenes that they're showing us now. Like, it was just stuff like that I'm just like.
The only thing with Poppy we got was in the barbershop episode. Like, she's briefly there. And that's why I can accept, like, okay, she always had a kid. But I hated don't play with the idea of it being the Doctor's kid, and then it's not the Doctor's kid.
Also, they kind of tease space babies. Like, they were kind of felt like they were doing something with that. I'm like, but don't gaslight me into space babies.
Yeah, I mean, it is the same actor, and it's the same name of a kid in Space Babies. But they're just unrelated now. And then it's like, here's the thing. If you're going to do a thing about the Doctor's kid, pay that off. Pay that off in a cool way. And if you're going to do the thing with Belinda, because here's the thing, I also would have bought it more if they hadn't made it abundantly clear multiple times in the series and in the episode that this Doctor is a very gay man. which, by the way, is one of the best parts about this character, is him being a gay man. I loved everything with Rogue. I loved everything about his gayness was wonderful. But then don't give me this, like, oh, maybe this is his kid from this fake reality. And it's like, okay, like, I don't, why is this happening?
And that's the thing, like, I felt like that was what was interesting about the dichotomy with him and Conrad.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like that just got underserved.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I felt like with everything, there was so much story potential that just never came to be. And a lot of the stuff feels like, I really love when Doctor Who gets diverse in that regard.
Yes.
I'm trying to think about how I want to say this. But then they never pay it off. So then I'm kind of like, well, what is the point? Because I really love it. Like, I love how diverse Unit is.
Mm-hmm.
But then they put a wheelchair ramp in the TARDIS, and none of the characters in wheelchairs ever go into the TARDIS.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it's like they kind of just go like, yes, I love Unit being diverse, but then don't do that if you're not going to actually pay it off.
Yeah. Like, don't do something to pat yourself on the back. I want to see it in use. Like, I want to see Shirley use her wheelchair ramp to get into the TARDIS and go on an adventure. I would have loved to have seen that.
But that's what upsets me, is that we don't get that payoff, because it is just like, I like that Shirley works for Unit. I love that character, like that kind of stuff. But then it's like, then they go the step too far of like, oh, now we're going to do this, like, and then they don't pay that off. And I'm like, well, then what was the point of this?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I get it. And then let's get into the actual, like, ending of the episode.
There's a god now that's being watched after Ruby's parents.
Yeah. Yeah. And they seemingly took the wish powers away. They did the thing where, you know how most genies are like, you can't wish for more wishes? Well, they were like, I wish for no more wishes. Loophole. Like, got it done. And also just and everything we just said, like, in an 8-episode season where you don't set any of that up, like, it felt so crammed and, like, just uneven and not what it should have been.
And here's my thing, too, is I was kind of explaining it. Like, when you watch a Marvel movie and you're just like, oh, all this can be solved by the other heroes showing up.
Yeah.
But I know that that's not going to happen. So there is, like, a bit of, like, as an audience member, you're like...
Yeah, that suspension of disbelief, yeah.
I do get it. Sure, whatever be it. But then every time he's like, oh, yes, there's only one thing that can save this, the last of the Time Lords. And it's like, my guy... You bi-generated into another. You bi-generated into that, and the Ronnie bi-generated. But even still, the one Ronnie gets eaten. Mrs. Flood just fucks off.
Yeah.
But that's fine. She's still a time lady out there. David Tennant's just up the road.
Yeah.
But did they ever go into, like, can David Tennant regenerate?
No, I think he just withers and dies.
Okay.
Now,
still has 2 hearts, though, right? Or does he have 1 heart?
I think so. What I loved is when Jodie comes back.
The master's in a tooth.
Yes. I loved when Jodie comes back and Ncuti says, like, I mean, I really thought it was going to be the other guy. He's always popping up. I'm like, that was
a funny bit. But immediately he said, there's only one person to the last of the Time Lord, to then immediately been met with another Time Lord.
Yeah, yeah. Like, it's, yeah. There's so much you could go into about the whole thing, but let's get into the ending.
Yeah.
He regenerates into Billie Piper, who infamously played Rose Tyler in The Moment in the 50th anniversary episode, Bad Wolf. And when I saw that, I'm going to give some complex thoughts on this. When I saw that, I just sighed. I was just like, ugh. And it has nothing to do with Billie Piper. I love Billie Piper. I love her in Doctor Who. I love her outside of Doctor Who. Love Billie Piper. It just felt so gross. Like it felt like a desperate fan attempt of like, see, now you need season 3 because we got to answer this. And it's like
you thought your feelings about David Tennant coming back were complex.
Yeah.
Wait till we do this.
But here's also the thing. You know what would have made me beg Disney to like renew the deal for season 3 is if we saw Susan again. And like they were going to answer that, because that's literally a question that's been unanswered since the 60s. Like, I would love to explore this. Like, this is very interesting. This just felt like a weird fan service grab. Now, here's what I'll also say, and credit where credit's due. Had this episode been fucking stellar, Like, they knocked it out of the park finale. Like, everything was satisfactory. Like, I'm thinking, like, the best Doctor Who finale. It's like the finale of Season 5, the finale of Series 9, Series 1 even. I love the Series 1 finale. Like, if they just nailed it, and then you see Billie Piper at the end, I give it a little bit more grace. Because then I go, oh, clearly they're cooking something. Like, I just saw this really great thing. Let's see. When you just watch one of the most disappointing Doctor Who finales you've ever watched, and then they throw that, it's just like, what are we doing?
That's part, because obviously, like, going into the specials, we knew Jodie was going to regenerate into Tenet, right? Like, that wasn't...
Well, we didn't know she was going to regenerate into Tenet.
Oh, I thought we did.
No, they announced Ncuti, and then she regenerated into Tenet.
Oh.
Yeah.
I felt more excited for Tenet, and I think maybe then that was part of the, like...
Well, it was also...
they were doing something different, but then,
they also... They also, sorry to interrupt you, they also announced that Tenet would be coming back for the 60th anniversary special, but and not the capacity he was coming back. And so you see that, and with the context of the 60th anniversaries coming up, that you see David Tennant, you're like, oh, okay, I see what they're doing here. There's nothing special going on. The only thing that's special about 2025 is that it's the 20-year anniversary of the 2005 beginning of Doctor Who.
Yeah.
So Billie that's how we celebrate?
Here's my Doctor Who hot take. I was never a big Rose guy.
Boo. How dare
I don't
you.
dislike Rose. I think there's just several other I think there's just several other companions that are much better than Rose and more interesting characters than Rose.
I don't know. So, I can't give you shit because Clara's my favorite companion, and literally the entire internet hates her. So I get it. But
if she had regenerated into Clara, who has a TARDIS, maybe there was something more interesting there than just Rose coming back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
now, go ahead.
But just the reveal of it was just so, like, Tenet coming back, I kind of gave like a little bit of leeway where I'm like, all right, like, they want to get people excited for this new Doctor Disney Plus thing. This just felt like a just nail in the... I was like, we're washed, aren't we? And I had been giving them a lot of stuff for a long time, a lot of leeway because I just love the show. But like, even watching the show today, Jodie popped up and I leaned up. I was like, what the fuck? It's Jodie. Like, I'm so excited. Then they reveal Rose and I was like, I was like angry.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's dumb. I don't like that.
Now, here's what I'll say. A couple things. One, I will happily come on here whenever we see the Rose thing paid off. If they knock it out of the park, I'll happily come on here and say, hey, fuck me, they knocked it out of the park. I'll happily do that.
No, I'm in full agreement. It's not something that I'm excited about, but I will give, like, I'm not going in scorned of it, you know?
Yes, but here's what I also want to say. Because this was pointed out to me by many people on the internet. In tradition, every time a new Doctor appears, in the credits it says, and introducing so-and-so as the Doctor or as Doctor Who, depending on the era, right? Someone pointed out that this episode doesn't say that. It just says, and introducing Billie Piper, but it doesn't say as the Doctor or Doctor Who. And then someone else pointed out, hey, look at every single press release regarding this. None of them are saying that she's the 16th Doctor or that she's the new Doctor. Which, okay.
But what would she be then?
Listen, here's my thing. Interesting. I would be so much more interested in this if the episode I watched was good. If the finale I watched was good, I'd be much more interested in figuring that shit out. Because what it looks like is Ncuti wasn't going to leave, and then he was, and they didn't cast anybody new because they don't know if they're getting renewed, and then they did this. I would have much rather preferred to not see who it was, or just have Ncuti remain the Doctor, and then if he suddenly wasn't there, you now have a time period that you can play with later on if you wanted to do some fuck shit, which is fun, right? Like the War Doctor's fun. It's because they had a gap, and they were like, oh, let's play around with this. They didn't even give themselves the opportunity to do that.
No, and I feel like there was even just so more, like, I would have loved if he regenerated into Joe Martin's Doctor.
Yes.
Like, give me that, you know? Like, I think there was so many more interesting possibilities with what they have already set up in the canon to, like, bring it back. Like, tinfoil hat, like you had talked about a while back, right? Like you were like, oh, Missy was at the premiere, that actress.
Mm-hmm.
So you were thinking, oh, maybe her master was going to show up. With one, Ncuti has never met a Cyberman, a Dalek, or a master.
Don't
He's
even
the
get me
only
fucking
to never have
started
done
on
that.
that. Yeah.
Or even a Weeping Angel. I mean, you can go to so many classic things. But
Mhm.
then I was like, oh, that almost would have been a more interesting storyline, is if the Doctor regenerated into Missy, like a master's face,
Mm-hmm.
than this. Like, this was kind of just like, I was like, all right. I'm going to watch it, but
Yeah.
I'm going to be angry about it.
But like, here's the thing. Here's what I'll say. I'm gonna watch it, of course. All of my goodwill towards this new era now has to be re-earned. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not going into something going, oh, don't worry, I believe in it. I don't believe in it. I don't believe in it. I'm gonna watch it because it's my favorite thing of all time. I'm gonna keep watching it. As much as I loved Jodie Whittaker, I've been on record that I did not enjoy her era. I still watched every episode. I will watch it, but the goodwill of trusting you to deliver an amazing and satisfying story, gone. You have to earn it. And there's something to be said, Nicholas. And
It's the thing of, like, I have given it so much goodwill that this may be the one that gets me to drop it.
I've seen that sentiment online already.
Yeah.
Already. And here's what I want to say. Russell T. Davies, because it sounds like I'm just saying, fuck this guy. He's written some amazing stuff inside and outside of Doctor Who. And I think the concept of the Time War is one of the best lore additions to anything ever. And that's all him. That's all Russell T. And in his previous era, his previous finales are outstanding, even though he had episodes that I didn't really like. He also has bangers like Midnight and 73 Yards and Part of the Well, because he kind of turned that into a Midnight sequel later. You know, like, I think he's really great. I need someone else in here. I need a new showrunner. And
it needs someone not even associated with Doctor Who.
Right, like my initial go-to would be like to bring Moffat back. Get somebody new, brand new, get them in here.
Moffat's not gonna, like, Doctor Who needs a full revive, not the nostalgia grab of coming back. Like, we need new voices, new direction.
And here's the thing that's to be said about this era, right? When your show has 13 to 15 episodes, like the previous show did, it's okay if some of the random episodes are the standout ones. Because you have so many writers, like, it's going to happen. When you have 8-episode seasons, and the episodes that everyone talks about are episodes that you did not write as the showrunner, that's an issue. Like, last season, everyone talked about Boom and Rogue. Those were everyone's favorites. And 73 Yards as well. Let's give credit where it's due. 73 Yards was well talked about and loved by me, and Russell T. wrote that. But this season, everyone talks about The Well and the Interstellar Song Contest. And now, granted, Lux as well. We got to give a shout out to Lux. That was a great episode. But what was the 4th episode after The Well? Which one was that? That was...
I'm blinking.
Oh, I'm blanking too.
Hold on,
I'm
give me
pulling
a
it up.
second. After Well was Lucky Day.
Lucky Day. Another great episode. You know, that was a one-off. I don't know. Listen, I think he's contributed amazing things to the show, but his attitude just seems to be in a way that, like, it's his and it belongs to him, and it doesn't belong to him. It belongs to a history of people, you know. And I feel like we need some fresh blood in here. Let's get someone new. Let's do something cool, you know. And I'm hoping whatever this Billie Piper nonsense is, look, again, if it's great, I'll say it's great. I hope it gets resolved in an episode, 2 episodes.
Yeah.
Don't drag this out. Also, if she is the 16th Doctor and they give her a fucking different sonic screwdriver and it's in 1 episode and I have to try to hunt that toy down, I'm going to be a little bit upset, okay? I'm going to be a little bit upset.
Are you going to get the Ronnies?
No. I haven't gotten the Masters or the Ronnies. You know, I'm not there yet.
It is Doctor only.
Yeah, maybe if I was rolling in cash, maybe I'd go for it. But you know, we'll see. That's just a personal gripe. but again, overall, was really disappointed and let down by the episode. It had great moments. It had great things in it. And overall, I think this season was better than last season. But man, I think this finale was even worse than last year's finale. Like,
yeah,
it's you know, It's a rough time out there for a Doctor Who fan.
Isn't it always?
Isn't it always? Is true. But was there anything else you wanted to add?
Nah, just
Yeah.
yeah.
And listen, I'll be right back here watching whenever it comes out. By the way, the trailer for the war between the land and the sea looks pretty fucking good, and I will be watching it. So.
Oh, I'm gonna Kate Stewart show. I'm there,
dude. Immediately, the trailer could have looked like garbage. If Kate Stewart's there, I'm in. It's that
Yep.
I'm that simple.
100%.
Dude, I would be so genuinely upset if they killed Kate Stewart. I would be so upset.
We were watching it, and when we got to unit,
Mm-hmm.
I looked at Morgan, and I was just like, "That's Kate Stewart. We love Kate Stewart."
Mm-hmm.
But then I forgot we were in Wish World, and it's mean Kate Stewart, and I was like,
right.
"We don't like that Kate Stewart." But
Yeah,
then immediately they like fixed, and I said, "We like Kate Stewart."
Yeah. Dude, I mean, and honestly, she's met so many doctors. Like, she's met 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. And you know, whoever 16 is, they're going to have Kate Stewart. I love how every single showrunner, because like she's one of the few characters that survived Moffat, Chibnall, and Russell T. Part 2. Everyone's just like, oh, Kate Stewart rules. Like, we got to have Kate Stewart in there. And
I feel like I think Russell has a soft spot for Mel as well.
Yeah, and by the way, I liked that character as well. I thought they did great. I loved, going back to the Ronnie conversation, I loved when they were talking shit to each other. I thought that was great.
Yeah.
But yeah. But anyway, hopefully, I hope my goodwill gets restored and all of this goes great. You know, they're lucky that they have me for life and that I won't stop. But it is what it is. But guys, the important thing is, what did you think about Doctor Who, The Reality War? Let us know in the comments down below. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.